Now, let's dive into our panel discussion focusing on the evolving business of the cruise industry. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome your panel participants, Edie Rodriguez, the President and Chief Operating Officer for Crystal Cruises, Charlie Dunwoody, Senior Director of National Accounts for Holland America Line and Seabourn, Christian Anderson, Senior Vice President and General Manager of the Americas for Silver Sea, Mike Wiersma, Vice President of Industry Relations for Viking Cruises, and here to moderate the discussion is a gentleman that I've been very privileged to call my friend over the last 20 plus years, the Editor-in-Chief and Editorial Director for Travel Alliance Media, James Shillinglaw. Take it away, James.
Good afternoon. How's the lunch so far? I lost that part of the thing. Now, this is the technology and social media panel, right? Oh, no, okay, that's the one I was supposed to moderate on Monday, but I guess I didn't do that. Let's start right off. And I like to have a lot of interaction with the panel, as you'll see, and most of the folks here on this panel have done this with me, and I've done this now three years in a row, I think, here at vacation.com. Let's start with the first one, the easy one. What do you think has been the biggest change in the cruise product over the past few years, and how has it affected the business? We're going to start with Edie.
Well, I think we live in a day and age of where it's all about options. So I think one of the biggest changes is an evolving consumer and consumer tastes. So as the consumer tastes have changed and evolved, so has the cruise brand experience changed and evolved. And that also translates to more on-land experiences. So I think that they choose the cruise, for the most part, based on the destination. And it's really about offering a plethora of options on the land-based experience.
Okay,
So
Charlie, what's your take on that?
Well, I think, there's a lot more variety out there, a lot more choices. Matter of fact, Big Mike down here from Viking River has been breeding boats like they're rabbits. So, so you have that entrance into the marketplace. But when you get on board now,
That's an interesting image, Charlie. I just want to look at that.
There's so many more choices on board. Like when you go on Holland America Line, the on-location program now is changing the experience. We have the Culinary Arts Center program where you can, take cooking lessons. And many other cruise lines are adding so many different options on board the vessels to really entertain yourselves.
Okay. Christian? Okay.
Oh, for us, it's pretty simple. I think from an optical standpoint, from the consumer's point of view, the biggest change in the industry has been the enormity of the vessels. When you're dealing, especially in mass market, when you're dealing with vessels that accommodate 5,000 or 6,000 guests, which is, for a lot of folks, that's the size of the town you're from.
Bigger than the town that you're from.
But bigger isn't necessarily, and I've been on them and I've enjoyed those voyages, but bigger isn't always necessarily better. And what we find is that, at Silver Sea at least, when we're able to accommodate guests with smaller vessels, if it's not broken, we're not going to try to fix it by becoming something we're not.
Right.
We're able to ensure quality control, and that's really something that we value greatly. But I think large ships are, they're there, and they're probably here to stay.
Yeah, we don't actually have a representative of the big ship lines on this panel, fortunately, unfortunately. But now, Mike, obviously one of the biggest changes has been your segment of the market, the growth of river cruising.
Yeah, what's up, Dak? Just sorry, working on the rabbit thing.
You're working on the rabbit thing, okay.
Actually, yeah, I mean, river cruising has just become so popular in the last 4 or 5 years. But again, like my associates here, I think the biggest thing is just all the choices, from 6,000 passengers down to what we do in an intimate river cruise environment. But in the river cruise segment itself, because it's a young segment, we've done a lot to really improve the product over the years. I mean, not only with the different hardware innovations like we've done with the long ships, but we've improved the food and the cultural experiences. So I think the entire river cruise segment, including our competitors, all have a very good product, and we've just stepped up to the plate and made it a much nicer experience too.
No, I absolutely agree. And then with all the many choices, you folks out there are really the only way that the consumers are going to realize what they want. I know consumers have no idea the depth and breadth of product that's now in the market today. Let's turn to another issue. at least in the luxury and premium and river cruise segments, we've seen sort of the growth of a more inclusive, if not absolutely all-inclusive product. Do you think this trend will continue, and how much more inclusive will cruise pricing get? And we don't have a member of the sort of contemporary, although sometimes these contemporary premium luxury badges we put on things are really changing, as Vicky said the other day. But what do you think about the all-inclusive nature? And I'm talking really mostly, I mean, Charlie, you're maybe not quite as inclusive as some of the other people on the panel.
Seabourn is.
Of course, Seabourn is, and you represent Seabourn. Let's start with you. What do you think about the trend toward inclusiveness? Is that going to continue and throughout all cruising, or is it going to be really focused on the premium, luxury, and maybe river cruising?
You know, I think you have to take a look at what value is, not from the point of view of what's inclusive or what's not inclusive, but it's the choice. So when people are developing, cruise lines are developing programs, they want to make sure that they're including packages that the customer wants today. So for example, on Holland America Line, we've got some inclusive amenities in the suite. So this is something that someone can sculpt their own luxury by saying, well, I'm going to take that suite because it includes all that, and then maybe a spa package, but someone traveling in a veranda stateroom may not want to have all that, so it's their choice not to buy that.
Right.
So it's totally up to the choice, and you have to gear your product to exactly what you think your customer is looking for. For example, on Seabourn, everything's included, but the shore excursions are not. Mm-hmm. We do offer some pricing on some cruises where you can buy the package with the shore excursions included with a credit, but yet we don't have the excursions that say you have to go on these. They can choose their shore excursion with that credit. So, you know, we're all playing and tinkering with it to see what the customer likes, because we have to stay relevant to today's marketplace.
Yeah, I'm getting a sense that this whole inclusiveness is changing rather dramatically, and whether ShoreX are included and all kinds of things. Christian, I mean, in terms of what Silversea offers, what do you see? Where is it heading? I mean, you're probably pretty all-inclusive right now.
I think we're a leader in the all-inclusive segment. That's our branding. We're celebrating 20 years. This past April was our 20th anniversary in the business. And when you look at the different marketing schemes that are in the market today, what you all are dealing with, I mean, you can say shore excursions are free, but everyone knows they're not free. They're included in the price. They're built into that. So, you know, we feel that you can extract the shore excursion as an option, as a choice, but where you never want to compromise from an all-inclusive experience is on the amenities, is on the cuisine, is on the service. These things are all built into who we are as a brand. Frankly, I'm always stunned. I'm at a loss to explain folks who would spend $4,000 or $5,000 on a voyage, and yet they're whipping out their credit card every day. They're using that magnetic key to pay for a cocktail. I mean, wouldn't your guess?
Yeah, it's kind of like Vegas, huh?
Right, it's exactly like Vegas if you consider Vegas to be fun. I mean, I'd rather be in the south of France on the beach somewhere. But at the same time, I would also prefer that once I write out my check or make my payment, I'm done.
Yeah.
And at Silversea, we offer that, and we continue to do so, and we're going to build on that in the years ahead.
Fantastic. Now, let me stick with the luxury lines. Edie, I know last year you actually got even more all-inclusive, and you put in new stuff. Where are you guys headed in terms of Crystal with this?
Well, at Crystal Cruises, a couple of years ago, we became all-inclusive. All-inclusive meaning full open bar with premium liquors, actually, not bottom shelf, if you will, and concurrent to that, all gratuities included. So we are an all-inclusive brand experience in that regard. Obviously, shore excursions are additional because we view that as an individual preference and choice. So we don't want to give a package that people may have experienced previously, and then they get sort of sewn into that sea of sameness, and maybe they don't want to go on a bus because they want a private Mercedes or a van for 6 or 8 people that they're traveling with. So for Crystal, all-inclusive at the premier end of the luxury spectrum, it's critical, if not paramount, for us to be all-inclusive, and it works very well for us because In addition to that, if they do want certain vintages, they can do that on their own. But I don't think, with regard to the genesis of your question, as far as other brands becoming more inclusive with regard to gratuities and liquor, I don't think in the mass market world we're going to see that as much, because it is a business cruise lines are running, and at the end of the day, if they were to incorporate that, it will cost more, and to make adequate ROI, the prices will go up. And as you know, in the mass marketplace, they're having challenges perhaps in the Caribbean. So I don't believe it will happen more traditionally in the mass market environment, but never say never, and I think each brand will run their individual analysis to determine that. But at Crystal, we are all inclusive.
Well,
To
fantastic.
Edie's point, I agree. Mass market probably isn't going down that path, but that's another reason to choose luxury.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, Mike, on the river side, there's been almost a battle for all-inclusiveness, and it continues, you know.
Yes, yes.
I mean, quite frankly, everyone is trying to top everybody else, and you came out with sort of really all-inclusive pricing.
Yeah, I mean, we've really looked very, very closely at it. And, you know, Viking, when we make decisions, we do a lot of research. We do focus groups, and we do research, and we talk to customers and to travel agents and everything else. And so we decided, really, both for rivers and oceans will do the same thing.
Right.
You know, we're going to include wine, beer, and soft drinks for lunch and dinner. You know, if you want to get a little tipsy, you can still have mimosa, you know, for breakfast. But the two things and of course we include the shore excursions every day, and at least at one shore excursion. And frankly, there's a couple of optionals depending upon the itinerary that, you know, you might have to pay for.
Yeah.
But every day there's an excursion included.
There's at least one or two, three,
Exactly.
included ones.
But the two things we really looked at is number one, for the liquor package, especially for our demographic, we found that a lot of people that are in that age group aren't heavy liquor drinkers. I mean, they'll have a cocktail or a martini.
Well, I'm in that age group. I think I drink a little, but
And so when we asked people, I think their perception is if we included the liquor, then we would, you know, then they'd be paying for everybody else's drinking issues. So that was the first thing. And the second thing, as far as including gratuities, we just thought it sent the wrong message to our staff.
Right.
We want our staff to always be incentivized to be doing more, and to just include it, it means they know they've got it coming, and we just didn't feel comfortable with it.
no, obviously. So you're seeing it sort of slightly different strategies, maybe sort of similar, but slightly different in each case on this stuff. Now, I want to take that to the next level, and this is a question I've asked for years, and I guess my first question here, and we can't really see you though, but how many of you book third-party shore excursions for your clients? Okay. And how many do you book or help your clients book the ones offered by the cruise lines themselves? A little less. So there's a question there. And obviously there have been some moves recently in the market. You have some included. You have a lot of included shore excursions. You are going to let the client decide. And Edie, and we've talked about this, and you still think that the best way is to let the client decide, and that's it. Where do you see this? And I guess my real question is, because these folks out here, if they book it, they want to get paid for it. So what's your view? I'll go for first taker here on this.
Well, I'll take that. Shore excursions have always been one of those things that have been discussed as far as paying commissions on. But at Holland America Line, we know that, especially when you have groups, you want to put together programs for your group that makes their cruise special. So we have a program, and I hope you all know about this, that you can come to us and talk to our shore excursion department, and we can custom make a shore excursion just for your group. It doesn't have to be one off of our brochure list. We can just have a discussion, what type of group is it? And we can design that and put that together, because we've got 141 years of designing shore excursions. And we give it to you at a net price. So then you can mark it up and you can make money on it. And the key thing there is, when you use our shore excursion department, is that it's built into the operation of the ship. So if anything goes wrong, if the shore excursion is late, it's our responsibility to hold the ship or get you to the next port if something did happen like that. Also, we make sure that they're insured and they're bonded. So to be built right into the operation of the ship, especially if it's a tender port, we will make sure we can put aside a tender for your group. So we can really enhance the
How
situation.
large is the group? How large is the group that you have to have for that?
Well, usually about 25, 30 people.
25, okay.
Yeah, and up. So, that's a great option to where you can make some money.
And you get a net pricing. Any other reaction to this?
I would say that, really with our programs, because they include a shore excursion every day, most people, that's enough. I mean, we offer a couple optionals here and there for maybe in case somebody wants to do more. And we also, what we do is we're the only river cruise line that really has a concierge on board. I mean, a lot of people, because they're FIT passengers, will all of a sudden, they're there and they'll go, oh, I'd like to do this. Well, now they can just go to the concierge and they can quickly set up something. But because you're right in the heart of a lot of the cities and you're so close, I mean, your optional excursion is to walk off the ship again into the town and experience everything that's there, as opposed to have to spend more money and go long places.
Actually, I would say in river cruising, there hasn't been that third-party situation quite yet. It's a little more complicated. Edie, Christian?
Sure. Well, I think shore excursions certainly are a very, very important part of the experience. And respectfully, I understand how you guys want commission on everything. But in reality, if somebody gets a massage on board, you're not earning commission on that as well. And back to the all-inclusive, I've had guests say, well, it's all-inclusive. Why do we have to add a gratuity to the massage if it says all-inclusive? So there's a lot of different viewpoints and perspectives out there. At the end of the day, we do have a commissionable incentive vis-a-vis groups if you're in large groups, 50 or more. So there are options to earn commission on shore excursions with Crystal. But at the end of the day, we continue to evaluate everything. So I hear you loud and clearly. I will never say never. I don't think we're going to evolve to be a brand experience where we include the shore excursions like one of our luxury competitors does. Again, because we believe it's all about individual options for the individual guest experience. I commit to you, I will evaluate if we can move in the direction of possibly exploring commissions on shore excursions. But for now, we don't pay them. And I will also say, to Charlie's point, it really, really is critical that guests get back there. I know, be it as a consortium or as individual agencies, if you're buying the shore excursions separate to the cruise line to earn the commission, if that's your main reason, really evaluate that, because we don't wait. And if they're on the Amalfi Coast, as I was last week, and there was a traffic jam, and they literally, excuse the pun, missed the boat, I don't know how happy your client will be for future bookings. But these are all issues to be cognizant of and weigh and evaluate. And I commit to you, I will evaluate exploring possibly paying commissions on shore excursions. But for now, Crystal does not.
You got a hand? A little bit. Okay. Kristen?
Well, let me just jump in. I mean, something that for the last year and a half at Silversea, we've made a big commitment toward is trying to keep everything simple, not making it complex. Quit nickel and diming guests, quit nickel and diming our partners, our travel agent partners. We pay commission on ShoreX. We will continue to pay commission on ShoreX. We pay commission on air. We will continue to pay commission on air. I mean, I had a really interesting meeting this morning with a colleague who represents ASTA, the American Society of Travel Agents. And something that I informed her that I think is really important for we in the industry to keep in mind is, I encourage you, hold Silversea accountable. Hold your supplier accountable. If your suppliers, 50% of their distribution is through a direct booking engine, they're probably not very pro-travel agent, regardless of what they tell you. That's not Silversea. We're committed to the success of our partners. We are reliant upon them, and we're depending upon them. So paying commission on ShoreX is a foregone conclusion for us.
There you go. Good enough.
No NCFs.
No NCFs. Well, now that we've got that controversial topic out of the way, at least for now, I once gave a speech where the rousing, you should be paid for the ShoreX you sell, and I got the rousing ovation. And then I had a fairly major sales figure for a major cruise line going after me who spent 10 minutes in rebuttal. So that was interesting. But that was a few years ago. Those things are changing. So let's move on to the next one, which is most, if not all of you, offer themed cruises. And obviously, these seem to be growing in popularity, both for independent and group travelers. You know, it's cultural heritage, eco, adventure, food, wine. What do you view as the fastest growing and most popular themes that you see attracting interest from guests? And how would you suggest that the folks out here best capitalize on these themed cruises? Mike, you want to take a stab at that?
Well, what's interesting for us is we don't really do many theme cruises. In fact, this year actually, we had our first theme itinerary, which is the new Bordeaux itinerary that we do, which is really a theme cruise. I mean, it it goes through the wine regions, and it's all about the wineries and cognacs, and so the whole thing is a theme cruise. But other than that, theme cruises aren't big for us at all. I mean, we may have certain groups on board.
Do you think you're going to have theme cruises on the new ocean-going ships, the Viking?
We might explore that market a little bit, but so far, when we announced the first ocean ship, it was 70% sold out within 90 days. It's 90% sold out right now. Really with FIT passengers. We're not even offering any group space on it right now. So, as time goes on, if we need to, motivate more sales, I'm sure it's something that we would consider, which is why I think people do theme cruises.
Right.
But we're very fortunate at this point where, we seem to be filling the ships with just FIT customers.
Okay, well, maybe you could do one of those real Viking themed, and everybody could walk around with one of your costumes.
We could do that. We could do that. Hand out the helmets and the horns.
I think that would be good.
Learn how to duck.
That's right. Swords too.
Swords too.
Kristen, what do you think on
Well,
the theme
I mean,
cruises?
theme cruises are always incorporated into our annual itinerary planning, but where we're finding, there's a new catchphrase going around in the industry. I'm sure everyone's heard it here. Millennials,
Who are those millennials?
Exactly, that's a great question. It's people that are younger than me.
We just got finished talking about baby boomers the other day. What's going on?
But what we're finding is, the evolution of the profile of our guest is becoming slightly skewed toward a younger demographic. It's still a demographic that they work hard and they play hard. So, and then you have a component of the cruise segment that says, I've been there, done that. I've done the Med 12 times. I've done the Baltic 4 times. What else is out there? So Silver Seas addressed this by saying that we're expanding our expedition product. We're on our third vessel now. The Silver Discoverer, there was a clap there, thank you. The Silver Discoverer is now in the South Pacific. We have the Silver Galapagos, hence in the Galapagos, and probably to this day, one of our most exciting itineraries is the Silver Explorer, which goes into the Arctic and the Antarctica region, and which typically sells out every year, about 3 months in to the selling period. So what we're finding is that this offers the touch experience. You're just not selling by or on you're getting into the in-depth aspects of nature. You're walking up. We go to the Kimberleys in Northwest Australia. The Kimberleys were discovered in the 70s, as in 1970s. I mean, it is virgin soil. It's never, this is brand new to humanity as far as us being aware of it. And we're going into these ports because we have access. We're able to do so. And what we're finding is that it's selling very well and it's appealing to that demographic.
So that for you, destinations are still the main reason people go, maybe not the theme of a cruise or something.
Well, two things. I think destinations are 50% of why people go, and then I think 50% is because they're on board Silver Sea.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Charlie.
I think we have to make a distinction here. You've got themed cruises that are put on by the cruise line. Then there's themed cruises that are created by you, the travel agent partner. So we're talking about two different things here. For example, on Holland America Line, we have our partnership with Dancing with the Stars. So 6 times a year, we actually bring the show dancers and the celebrities on board from the show. So people who are fans of the show can come see that. So that's a choice there. We have our Culinary Arts Center, which is presented by Food and Wine Magazine, where we have guest chefs that are put out on a schedule. So if people are interested in food and wine and like these particular chefs, there's a theme for them. On the other hand, you can create your own type of a theme cruise with a restaurant locally with some food and wine. That's right now the biggest theme that we have being created by the agent communities, people bringing on foodies with their wine pairings and things like that. And we have the perfect facilities to accommodate that. So I think those are the two distinctions. And to answer your question, which is the most popular theme cruise? Food and wine cruises.
Food and wine, absolutely. And Edie, I know you've had a lot of different things going on. I keep getting releases all the time on different special, focuses in the course of one of your cruises.
Sure. Well, at Crystal Cruises, we have many, many, many different theme cruises. They're listed in all of our agent collateral pieces, as well as in our consumer-facing brochures. So you can turn to that page and read all of the different ones. And they include everything really across the spectrum: food and wine, theater, dance. The list goes on, as well as culturally immersive ones. But I think, as I said earlier, with an evolving guest, we are evolving as well. And so we incorporated 2 new programs to really further the customization of theme cruises. One of those programs is Crystal Celebrations, which allows you as a travel consultant to not have to be a global event planner. You can engage Crystal Celebrations and they will plan whatever theme, whatever event you want on or off the ship. I utilized them myself for a wedding at sea on and off the ship. So that was sort of a theme cruise for me. But you can utilize them, and the great thing is it's fully commissionable. So you'll earn 10% commission anytime you engage Crystal Celebrations to customize an event or a group theme cruise for your individual client needs. Concurrent to that, we also have a wonderful program called Crystal Family Memories. And to the question, we are seeing a big theme cruise need, if you will, or desire for family reunion type celebrations in the luxury end of the space. So Crystal Family Memories can help you customize a family reunion cruise themed just for your guests' needs.
Fantastic. Let me turn to something else now. And for some of you guys on the panel, this doesn't really apply. What we've seen in the industry recently is a lot more movement to home ports. And then concurrently, we've seen some lines are actually basing ships in China, in Europe, or going to be basing it. And I was going to start with Mike. I said, this doesn't apply to you at all, but actually it does apply to you. In terms of you have plans, I believe, for a Mississippi cruise, river cruise at some point.
Exactly, James. We've been talking about it for about 2 years. I don't think it's any secret that Tor's alluded to it in the past. That will be probably our gift to the home port situation.
Right.
I would anticipate probably doing something soon.
Okay.
We've been working on it, but I promise you, it will not have a paddle wheeler.
There you go. So Memphis and New Orleans home ports, not too bad if you get there. Now, Christian, Silver Sea does visit U.S. ports, but
absolutely.
Do you have any plans to maybe base a ship at least part of the year?
We're a global company, proud of our Italian heritage. We have over 200 very happy American men and women working in our Fort Lauderdale, America's office. And we sail into Fort Lauderdale, New York, Los Angeles, Seattle, Vancouver, wherever we decide each year. As far as having a ship actually based in the North American market, not at the moment, but we certainly want to keep our options open as we move along.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Charlie, I know you actually have some based in
Yes,
the US.
we do.
A few.
Couple, 2, 3 maybe.
That's right.
We're, again, Holland American Line and Seabourn are both global companies. So, we both do 7 continents, 7 seas, but we do design our itineraries not by the home port, but what our guests want. So we're going to do the itinerary in the best way possible, staying in the ports as long as possible. But as far as home ports, we do sail out of Montreal, Quebec, Boston, Fort Lauderdale, Tampa, San Diego, New York, Seattle. So we'll have, quite a few ships touching North America throughout for the foreseeable future, because that's the core of what we do, especially up in Alaska.
Right.
So, again, we try to design our itineraries to customize to what our guests are looking for. So if a market is emerging, we would take a look at it. But right now, I think we're positioned pretty well.
That's it. Yeah, no, you have quite a lot. Edie, same question.
Well, I'm very proud to be an American leading an American-based U.S. headquartered company, but we are a global brand experience, and while we touch from time to time on places like New York, Miami, LA, et cetera, and in fact in 2016 we'll be going back to Alaska, we really don't plan to have U.S. home ports because we have two beautiful vessels that circumnavigate all 7 continents around the world, but our guests are asking for more international type itineraries.
Very good. Now I'm going to skip the next question I had down here, and we may return to it, but one of the things I really am curious about is what you have to offer in terms of advice on selling cruises and how the folks out in this room can give them a great tip on how to sell more cruises in your respective lines. And then what are they doing that they are doing very well, and what are they doing that they're not doing so well? And then the third part of that is what could you do better to help them? So let's start, Edie, let's start with that.
Sure. Well, those are a lot of different questions.
There's a lot of
within
different
one
questions
question.
there. I'm keeping track. So
Okay.
That's,
Well, I'll tell you a bunch of tips, if you will, and take you really back to the basics. First of all, as I said yesterday, we are very, very proud of the VCOM and Crystal Cruises partnership. So first of all, you should be harnessing the power of that partnership and become very familiar and cognizant with all of the promotions that we offer through your headquarters, from distinctive voyages on right down the list, and the opportunities for earning additional commissions concurrent to your clients that you entrust to become our guests, saving or getting onboard credits. So do the homework and learn what the deals are between our very, very valuable relationship. And then it goes down to what I've always said, and those are the basics. As a good travel consultant, asking the right sets of questions so that you can then recommend the right suggestions for that particular vacation endeavor of that particular client, because you want to make it the right choice. You want to give them the right sets of options, because you have one chance to make a great first impression. And if you send them on the wrong brand experience for what their needs were, you're not going to win them back again and again as a partnership for life type client. And then now let's get to, most importantly for Crystal, the creme de la creme of the luxury space, how to become a luxury expert. Well, first and foremost, you should choose this as an area of specialization. If you don't already, or have somebody in your office doing it, find out who the luxury champion in your office will become, and then train them, let them get all the tools and empowerment they need to close more luxury sales with confidence. And along those lines, you have to come and experience the product and the brand experience. And if you haven't sold or experienced Crystal, you should. And don't be intimidated by the luxury space. I often tell people, start in your own life. Find out where the luxury clients are in your neighborhood. They may be a charity organization. It might be the local country club. And you don't have to join that country club at a big expense to get access. Go meet with the director, put together a group, give them the TC. There are cost-effective ways to negotiate the deal and gain exposure to luxury clients. So I think if you use all of this as a list of menu items and you attack it very strategically, you will become an extremely, extremely successful VCOM luxury expert.
Very good, very good. There you go. Give her a hand. Now, I guess the follow-up to that question is, what could you think Crystal be doing a little bit better or a little more of, or what you might focus on to help these folks?
Well, I think all of us can always be doing more, better, learning, et cetera. So certainly all of us at Crystal endeavor to do that on a daily basis. But I think, again, back to the spirit of partnership. Jeannie works very closely with Maureen to put together great programs for the VCOM agents. We're very supportive. And I guess what we can do at Crystal, as I said yesterday, it's a new day at Crystal. So I want each of you to know and remember, you have all access all the time to my team and I, so use it.
Oh, fantastic. Now, Charlie, same question in terms of what could these folks, how can these folks sell more cruises, and what can you do maybe a little better to support them?
I think in order to become the premier seller of cruises in your area, you have to have a certain mindset. And I always like to use the Holland America Line mission statement, was that we create once-in-a-lifetime experiences every time. So if you're talking to your client with that mindset, that you're going to create this experience for them, that they're going to come back to you time and time again. So it really is important that you invest in yourself. And like Edie said, you know, there are a lot of education courses out there. Holland America Line has HAL Academy, Seaborn has Seaborn Academy. Take time to invest in your knowledge so you can deliver that once-in-a-lifetime experience every single time. Know that your client is going to walk in with so much information that you got to be 1 or 2 steps ahead of them. Then you got to take your knowledge and put the person on the right vessel. So, for example, when you sell someone on Holland America Line, it's like an annuity. 50% of our guests that sail with us on any cruise have sailed with us before. 50%. So that means if you put someone on a Holland America Line cruise once, they're going to come back to you. Another great statistic is that out in the marketplace, we know that a consumer will use the same travel agency approximately 25% of the time, twice in a row. But with Holland America Line, it's about 45%. So what that says is you're picking the right cruise line and they're coming back satisfied, so they're coming back to you again. So I believe with that mindset, you'll be able to sell more cruises. Also groups. Groups are a great way to get into connecting through families and family reunions. And once you start spreading out your experiences to everybody, they're going to come back to you again.
And, you know, and in terms of Holland America, what do you think you're going to focus on to help even more, these guys sell even more cruises? I mean, what is your real...
We've tried to come up with innovative programs. We've increased our distinctive voyages exposure. We actually brought Seaborn into the distinctive voyages program. And I'm working with Sinead and Dave Spinelli and John and everybody at VCOM to continuously take a look at what are the assets that VCOM has and how can we complement that together. So that's a constant dialogue that happens basically every week.
Right. Now, Christian, in terms of Silversea, what are your best tips for the folks out there in terms of sell more Silversea?
Well,
I know you have a few, but
I'm also seeing last question, please. So I'm anxious because there's a lot to talk about here. The number one thing to remember. Well, first of all, let me say this: these are all remarkable lines. Crystal, Seaborn, Holland America, and Viking are phenomenal lines. My preference is Silversea. For obvious reasons, I think we're the best. But with that said, the reason I point that out, and it relates to your broader question, you know, and this is a statistic that for those of us who have been selling cruises for a while or we've been in the industry for a period of time, everyone acknowledges the fact that, and the statistic varies, it's anywhere from 90 to 95% of the American public has never been on any sort of cruise experience at all, from mass market to river to luxury and everything in between. So the field, as it were, is reap. It's ripe. It's ready to reap. You know, there's a huge opportunity for all of us to partner together. But with that said, when you break it down to Silversea, the number one thing you can do to partner with us to sell more Silversea, to make greater commission, which happens to be probably the highest in the cruise industry today, is to make your area sales director your very best friend. Our folks,
take them to dinner.
Take them to dinner, take them to happy hour, go to temple, church with them, whatever you prefer to do. They are there with you 24/7, 365. If they're not, please email me at kristiana@silversea.com and let me know. Because they are committed to building the business with you. They are subject matter experts, and I could tell you to go online and look at Travel Agent University, which we have. We could send you collateral and brochures to help you become more familiar with the business. But no one is going to partner for your success more directly than developing the relationship with your area sales director. And that's really, really critical for us.
Fantastic. Thanks, Christian. Now, I guess we're going to end with the river guy. And I guess, you know, he's the biggest guy in the panel, and if I didn't do that, he'd hurt me. So there you go.
Hey, thanks, Gene. Well, you know, I was a travel agent for 27 years, so I've been in your shoes before. And for me, it was always know your customer, Know what you want to sell. And I go back to my presentation yesterday. I mean, 18% of the country is going to be 65 and older. And for me, if I was a traveler, I'd be focusing in that 50-plus demographic because they've got the time, they've got the money, they've got the numbers out there. It's certainly, in terms of selling our product, that's the customer out there. We do have this new agent academy, and again, as a travel agent, it's hard to sell things unless you've got a lot of confidence and you know what you're talking about, and that's why we put this program together. So get on that, take those courses, get on our ships and see them, and everybody who does gets excited, and I think that'll continue to work. And then one last thing, because I know we're out of time, what are we doing to try and make it work even better? We're just advertising. You know us, we're marketers. We're gonna drive it through your door. We're gonna drive it through your door. We put it on TV, we mail them, we inkjet all your past passengers so that they're calling you about Viking and make it easier to put them on us.
Fantastic. Good way to end. I have a lot more questions here. We've run out of time. Please give this panel a great hand. They did a great job. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thanks, James. There you go. Thank you.